you want to look at the whole process of forgiveness and how it works, if you go to our website, whyagain.com, whyagain.com. On the right-hand side, you'll see a link that says Download Worksheets. The first 4 links under that section will give you the whole forgiveness story. And that's what we're inviting you into, to actually step into a space where you are willing to learn forgiveness, where you're willing to let loose of everything inside of you that causes you pain, where you're willing to take responsibility instead of playing the codependence game of blaming someone else. And as you do that, and all you have to do to enter into codependence is say to somebody, you made me. Now I'm codependent with this person. I want them to be responsible for what's happening inside of me. So that's our forgiveness conversation and our invitation to put an end to war in order to honor those who've been forced to engage in the insanity of that process on planet Earth. And we just invite you to participate. If you have questions or thoughts about that, we would love to hear your questions or thoughts about that idea and or anything to do with the tools that we're teaching here. Our call-in number is 646-200-4169. If you have a question or a thought for us, we would love to hear your voice, and we would love to have that conversation with you. If you and I were sitting in a room alone, would you have a question for me? If so, then we ask you to call the number 646-200-4169 and ask the question. And we'll be glad to answer it. You can have a conversation with Jeannie or I or David's there. Is Dr. Tim with us today?
Tim is not with us, and we do already have a caller. So, area code 828, you're on the air. Who do we have?
Hello, everybody. This is Magdalena.
Oh, Magda.
Hi.
Welcome, neighbor. Welcome.
Hello, neighbor. Yeah, thank you very much. I trust this is finding you all in good health and great feelings, great happiness.
All is moving forward in wonderful ways.
Wonderful. Well, I do have a question, comments about one of your beautiful tools, your new reality management worksheet, also known as the forgiveness worksheet. And I've been experiencing this lately when I've been doing worksheets that revolve around something that I realize is my, of course, everything comes from within us. Often we don't realize it. We do project it onto someone else. But there are occasions when I realize, whoa, this is me. It's coming from me. And so my trigger then is me. And when I'm working with myself as a trigger, I'm having some difficulty fitting that application into especially number 5, that section in number 5. So I'd like some help with this to sort it out for myself and see how to better use this tool.
Great question. First of all, the worksheet, of course, for those who haven't been exposed to the work very much who are on the show, is something that can be used in a situation involving anything that can trigger something less than loving you. So you can do a worksheet on yourself, another person, an object, a situation, any object of attention that resonates something less than loving you is a perfect opportunity to do forgiveness work. If you do a worksheet on yourself, or let's say an inanimate object or a situation, throughout the rest of the worksheet, you're going to talk to that yourself and or that inanimate object or situation as though it were a third person. So you're going to kind of objectify yourself here. In the Aramaic language, pardon me, you are the neighbor to your true self, and the false self is neighbor to the true self. So you're doing a worksheet on your neighbor, self, and when you get to number 5, that's where you're canceling the goal. So in number 3, you're in a situation, you've identified the situation. Would you mind sharing the situation that you're working on with us?
Oh, sure. Why don't I just start at the top and then see if I've even approached the beginning correctly here.
Great, let's go.
Okay. So number one, should I read the whole thing or just tell you what I've written?
Sure, go ahead, read through it.
Okay. I have, through denial, trained my carbon-based memory to show me the lie that my feelings and giving up the experience of my essence love are caused by my trigger, 1A, me. And then my initials to indicate that I know it's mine. So then I wrote what happened. I totally forgot my own goals when Chuck offered to make breakfast for me and then invited me to look at some information on the web. So in C, my mind tells me that, and then it says he, she, it, or they, and I wanted to put I in there, that I caused me to feel angry because it is me. So he, she, it, and they didn't seem to fit. So the feeling that I triggered in myself was my own anger. In D, the thoughts I used to cause this feeling, I sold myself out again without even a thought about my own goals. And in E, I wrote, I want to punish not them, but self by staying angry with myself. And then number 2, I choose to love truth and willingly face and process out all disease-producing energies. I'm sorry?
Let's go back and look now. So you've completed step number 1.
Yes.
And this worksheet is a worksheet on self, or it could also be a worksheet on a situation.
Okay.
That would produce a different healing result. It could also be a worksheet on Chuck as the object of attention. So you've got 3 potential worksheets that will each help you to get at the root of another part of your mind. See, in this situation, you're blaming self for what's happened. So the trigger, self, you're laying blame on self. And in the same breath, you're saying, well, I know this is mine. Yes, and you're still in blame of self. So the key thing there to realize...
I got lost there, Michael.
Okay.
Yeah, I am blaming myself. When I was first feeling upset, I was wanting to blame Chuck, but I realized it's not him. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't, trigger anything. And so then a little bit later I got, whoa, it's me. And that's when I sat down and did the worksheet on me, self.
So you remember, you heard me speak before about the Hydra, the Greek mythological creature that when you cut one head off, you have 5 more heads that come forward.
True.
So what I usually do when I'm doing a worksheet nowadays is I keep a pile of them, and when I see one of the other heads starting to raise, I start another worksheet. So I'll just put in, in the first idea or 2 that keys me in. So I would start a second worksheet on Magda, and the thought would be, or the situation is self-blame.
Oh, okay.
So Magda's number 1A, and of course your initials. And then what's the situation? I blame myself when Chuck invites me and I forget my own goals.
Okay. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So that's different. How is that different from what I have done, though?
Go ahead.
Because I've got self, me. I write down me, but it's self.
Right.
I totally forgot my own goals. Okay, I didn't put the word blame in there. Is that it?
Yeah. The Hydra, you're starting to cut a head off, and the Hydra now is about self-blame.
Okay.
In the first one, you talk about I'm responsible for this. This is mine. So now you've opened a different file in your mind, and that's the file on self-blame.
Okay.
So that, for me, would be another worksheet. That's one of the, again, once you're starting to slice off one head, another one arises.
Okay, that's really tricky because it's so similar. I mean, to me, it's so similar.
Yes.
It's
Except
very
that
subtle.
there's a huge difference between self-responsibility and self-blame.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yes.
And
okay.
and
yeah.
the worksheet on self-blame is going to produce some awesome results for you, I think.
Okay. Great. Okay, good. I've got that noted. All right.
Okay. So that would be another worksheet to work on. So now we're back to the first worksheet, and it's Magda, and I forgot my goals, and this is my responsibility. And so that's the situation. Your feeling was anger?
Anger.
Okay.
Anger
so
toward
now,
I'm sorry?
Anger toward self.
Yes.
Okay. Now, at the same time as I'm looking at anger towards self, the instant that my mind went to, this is about Chuck, even though you can say to yourself, well, I know this isn't about Chuck, he didn't do anything wrong, I'd start an additional worksheet on Chuck, because there's a part of your mind that believes that it is his fault.
Okay, just the fact that went through my mind momentarily before I was able to say, oh, no, it's not him, that indicates that there's something there.
Right. That indicates that there's a file in your mind that you'd rather not be in touch with that blames him in that situation.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I get
Even
that.
though you can intellectually say to yourself, I know this is mine. Remember that on a conscious level, we're seeing maybe, they say 5%. I suspect we might be seeing 0.1% in terms of conscious awareness of what's going on under the surface. And so whenever I have even the subtlest thought show up like, well, this is Chuck's fault, I have to do this worksheet on Chuck. Oh, no, this is mine. This is my responsibility. Under the surface of that, the other 99.999% is holding a place that is hidden where the belief is that it's about Chuck. So, and if you remember, when we're looking at a picture in our minds, the pictures we see in our minds are generated by our minds out of the content of our minds. And those pictures are the very tip of the iceberg. And so when something starts to sneak up and I go, oh, no, that's not it, I want to follow through with that which is sneaking up. So I suggest start an additional worksheet on Chuck.
Okay.
And whatever that thought, however that went, why does he distract me or whatever it is.
Why doesn't he read my mind and know that I have other things to do?
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, in order to produce this hologram that we call the world we see, there are probably literally 1 million files firing under the surface that we get to see just the tip of the iceberg. Each one of those files that we can grab and forgive any kind of hostile or fearful content is going to take the legs out of under this whole dynamic in our lives. So, when they said to Yeshua, how many of these worksheets do we have to do? Is 7 going to get it? Is 7 enough? His input was no. In Aramaic, he said 77 times 70. So you've just uncovered, besides your prime worksheet, 2 additional worksheets that will produce the benefit of knocking the legs out from under this whole thing of blame of others, blame of self. Because I can, when I have blame under the surface and it peeks its head up, I can rationalize, oh, okay, there's no blame here, it's just my responsibility. And now I've taken that part which started to peak up, and I've gone, no, I don't ever look at that one. Don't let that one come to the surface. Let's put that one away. I'm responsible. It's okay. I don't have to look there. And when you go into the string, that you follow that string and drill down to that, you're going to find, I suspect, some pretty intense stuff that will produce a whole shift in your perception of Chuck, in your perception of yourself, in your perception of relationships.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah, that's wonderful. Got it.
Oh.
Thank you. Okay.
So we've got 3 worksheets started. Now let's go back to the prime one. So the feeling in the first worksheet was?
Anger.
Anger toward Magda.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. So Magda says, I'm responsible, and then Magda has some form of hostility towards self. Now, remember that hostility is a drug. So anger toward Magda says that I have a file in my mind about Magda where I have some pain that I don't want to look at, and so my anger is a drug, is a cover for that pain. If you look at the thought under the surface of the anger, what is the thought that produces pain? A thought of loss, a thought of, what is the thought there?
Now, Michael, are you asking what I wrote down, or are you asking me to think about pain and the thought?
Yes. Yes.
Which one? Which one? The one I wrote down?
Yes.
Okay.
All of the above. All of the above. It's all relevant.
All right. The thought I wrote that I used to cause this feeling, I sold myself out again without even a thought about my own goals.
Okay.
So it's a reprimand to me. I did this again. Big reprimand.
Cool. So that might open another worksheet. This is the Hydra effect again. That might open another worksheet that you do on Magda and selling herself out.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what I thought this one was about.
Well, it ties in, but this one is about Magda being responsible for what's going on in her life. This one about Magda selling herself out is another shade, a different issue.
Okay. Wow, these are so...
I put selling myself out not as the thought in this next worksheet, but rather as the situation.
Got you. Okay. Oh, yeah, Yeah. Okay. I've experienced that before, where the thought brings up a topic for another trigger. It is another trigger, and I kind of forgot that. So thank you for real enlightening me here. Good. Selling myself up. So that's number 4 at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So there's anger, and I sell myself out. Now, when you say I sell myself out, that sounds like it's a relatively easy thing to say, and so what? So I've sold myself out. But in order for you to want to drug yourself with anger over that, there's something deeper. For instance, it might be something like all the hurt that you've experienced from the times when you sold yourself out.
That makes sense.
So the underlying thing is the hurt, the underlying pain, the underlying issue. And so now we've just opened another Hydra effect worksheet. So here's another worksheet with Magda as the object of attention, and my hurt at all the times I've sold myself out.
Okay. Good. Well, this is great.
Because ultimately what you want to do and what keeps you unconscious, what tends to keep us unconscious in situations like that, is I have 1,000 times that I've felt loss, pain, hurt, or what have you around a particular issue, in this case, selling myself out. Each time that's resonated, what happens is I'll go unconscious. So when somebody comes along and says, hey, I have a great idea, let's do this, and I have a different commitment, and I lose awareness of myself and my commitment, it's because I've got all that unconsciousness under there.
Correct.
And what I want to do is allow, and each worksheet will take you to a different part, will drill you down into a different part of the unconsciousness around this whole issue.
Yeah. That's a perfect word to use, drilling down. I'm feeling that so intensely right now.
Awesome.
We are just drilling deeper and deeper here. Yeah.
Awesome. And so each worksheet is taking you into a deeper and deeper part. And you remember in the ancient teachings, they said, take care of the heart, for out of it are the issues in life. And the heart, in our modern language, would be the unconscious, the dissociated mind, the part of me that I deny and dissociate from and don't ever want to look at. Nobody wants to look in there because it's not pleasant to look at what's there. But when we don't look at what's there, it controls us. It defines us.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only way to have choice in any given situation is to allow yourself the space to process out the unconsciousness that just has you lose awareness when a situation like that, resonates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now let's go back to the original worksheet. And what's your punishment thought towards self?
Staying angry with myself.
Okay, so you've got anger towards self, but there's
a lot in different worksheets, by the way.
Say again?
That comes up a lot in different worksheets. Staying angry with myself or feeling bad about myself, feeling badly. Mhm. Wow. Are we disconnected?
So is the punishment then in that situation self-condemnation?
Continued self-condemnation, yes.
Continued self-condemnation. So there's the punishment thought. And now the Hydra effect in again, and there's another subject for a worksheet, is my continuing self-punishment or self-condemnation.
Excellent. Number 6.
So what you're allowing yourself to do is to have the space here to look at all the legs that sit underneath what comes up on the surface as a reality that seems just simple and straightforward. And these are the legs that support it and help it to stand there. And when you forgive, each one of them will contribute to this whole reality of self-blame, of unconsciousness, of self-condemnation. It'll just get you to the point where that whole thing will collapse. Remember in the new worksheet, we have that step in 5B that says, I want to be rid of the very capacity to even generate this.
Yes, I love that.
And so these are the legs that support the tip of the iceberg that looks like it stands on its own. And each one of those legs knocked out will get to the point where you could be in exactly the same circumstance. Chuck says, hey, how about if we do this exciting thing, and you've got a whole thing planned. And then, 2 hours later you go, oh, I had a whole thing planned, and cool. Look at the great time we've had. There's no self-condemnation left because you've cleared out self-condemnation. There's no anger towards self because you've let go of the need for the drug because you looked at what was beneath the surface of the need to drug yourself.
Ooh, good. I'm excited.
Cool.
This is very exciting. All right.
So the willingness, and this is a big key, whenever there's hostility or fear, by definition, in step 1, we're living in a lie. We're living in an hallucination. Anything that has hostility or fear attached is coming from corrupt data, and therefore is not the truth. It may be a truth that we hold in our minds, but it's not the truth. And as you collapse it, as you choose to love truth, you'll be making a space. You'll be carving out a space in yourself for truth to really show up and arrive. Like, for instance, in a place where yesterday you might have been in self-condemnation of Magda, instead what will come will be these warm feelings of what an awesome spiritual being you are, perhaps going right back to the moment of your birth, when someone what an awesome presence of love this being is. Rather than what your power person taught you was, you should be angry with yourself, and I'll just make a wild guess. Your power person probably spent a lot of time angry with themselves, right? And angry with you?
Mhm. Yes. Yes.
It's a wild guess. And so...
Not too wild.
Pardon me?
Not too wild. It was right on.
Yeah. So then, now the Hydra effect takes over. We've got another worksheet. And this time, the object of attention of the worksheet is going to be my power person.
No.
Mom, Dad, usually. So start a worksheet, if you would, with their name on it.
Yeah.
And they were angry with the situation. They were angry with me a lot.
Mhm. And condemning.
And condemnation, right. Yeah.
Those are
and then,
go
ahead.
Worksheets? I'm seeing those as two separate worksheets.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, my father being angry, my father condemning.
Right.
Yeah.
Of you. And then,
of me.
Still another worksheet. I think this is number 8 now, or number 7. So another worksheet would...
Yeah. Those were 7 and 8.
Okay. So another worksheet would be Dad. Yeah, that was the power person you selected, right?
Right.
All the times he was angry with himself and condemning of himself.
Ooh. Really? Okay, so wait. That is the trigger?
That would be the situation. Dad would be the trigger, and the situation would be all the times Dad was angry and condemning of himself.
Okay.
And what you're probably going to find when you get down to number 3, the goal, is the goal you held for Dad as you watched him being angry and condemning of himself will probably be exactly the same goal on your primary worksheet here that you held for yourself.
Wow. Okay. Okay, so that takes us full circle.
Yes.
Wow.
Most power person issues do.
Yeah, wow. I take a breath.
Big breath. So now that we're on that topic, on both of those worksheets, or actually all 3 of those worksheets, the last 2 that you started and the first, the primary one, we could probably go for the goal. If you look in number 1 or number 3 in your primary worksheet, the first one you started with, what is it that you wanted from Magda in that situation?
I wanted myself to take time and reevaluate my goals before deciding.
Okay. That one sounds pretty heady and coming very much from the mind, and that might be a good one to work with too. But the sense I get is one more of, in this situation, what I really wanted to do was to stay connected to love and self-approval.
And
if you look at Dad being angry with you and condemning you, what you really wanted from Dad was for him to embrace you, cherish you, and approve of you. Right? Does that bring any feelings forward?
Sure. Very strong feelings. And that is, you're right, that's what I would want for him to have had for himself as well.
And that would be the same goal for himself, yes.
You're right. Okay. I'm writing it down.
We skipped over a step because we came right up against the goal. And while we're there, you're not always going to necessarily do the steps in order. You might actually get an insight in step 6. And so if you do, then you go down and jot it into step 6. But right now, we've got the goal for those 3 worksheets.
Yeah.
And they may apply to the others as well, but for those three at least, is the goal to embrace self, cherish self, be approving of self. The goal for Dad to embrace you, cherish you, and be approving of you. And the goal for Dad to embrace himself and cherish himself and be approving of himself.
Mhm. True.
And I don't know about you, I'm going to dig out a worksheet and do one on this, because as I say that, I feel tears in myself.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, this is pretty universal, huh?
Yeah, it's a big one. Breathe.
Yeah.
So then we'll go back to step 2 in the sense of that breath. And I choose to love truth. This whole thing of anger towards self, et cetera, is something my mind serves up, but it's not the truth. And so a choice. I choose to love truth. And then I'm willing to get big enough to embrace and to be able to work through all of these dis-ease-producing energies for all my relations.
Yeah.
Dad, Mom, Grandpa, Grandma, all the way back. So there's a level of I'm willing to be the space here to open the depth of this particular issue for all of my relations, for all of my generations. You know, that story of the Jews that story of the Jews wandering in the desert for 40 years.
Yeah.
That wasn't a story about some old fogies in the desert several thousand years ago. That's a story of us. And in order to get out of the desert, which is the unconscious, what has to happen? The old generation has to die off. That's what the ancient scripture said. They weren't talking about people in old physical bodies had to physically die. The root of the word generation is genari, which is cause. You're carrying a genetic cause here for self-condemnation, for anger towards self, and self-disapproval, which you saw your dad do. Good chance you might have seen Mom do it too. Mm-hmm. I don't know how well you knew your grandparents, but how much of it did you observe there, and or if you knew them, your great-grandparents?
Mm-hmm. I wasn't lucky enough to know them, but I received it all from my mom and dad in large doses. So, yeah. And I heard enough stories about one grandfather, at least, that I know he was operating this way.
Say that last sentence again. I didn't hear it.
I heard enough stories, family stories, about one of my grandfathers that I know for sure that he was operating with a great deal of condemnation. And my guess is that anyone who condemns anyone outside of themselves is, of course, condemning themselves as well, because it's a projection. So, yeah. So, yeah, wow. That really, that brought up a great deal. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, be with it.
Yeah, the generations, healing this for all the generations, that is bringing up a tremendous amount of feeling here. Yeah.
Yeah. And notice that here you are with a global community of people who most of us probably have some of the same issues, but are here holding the space for you to enlarge your territory, to enlarge the space for you to embrace this and be able to process through it. I mean, you've got people in Asia and Europe and all over America who are here supporting you in this right now.
That's wonderful. Wow. I thank you all.
So then the next step in number 2 is I'm willing to go through the physical, mental, and emotional symptoms of healing. So I'm willing to embrace what comes up, and it sounds like, maybe a lot of grief.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of grief, a lot of sadness. So there's number 10, I think.
Right, exactly.
No, number 11. Wow.
So sadness and grief about the way my generations have lived in relationship to themselves.
Mhm. Yeah.
What a contribution to the whole bloodline.
Mhm. I'm gonna. Hold on just a second. Okay. Chuck is just coming over to say he's going to Heartland to do some work.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you, Chuck.
He's on his way. Okay. The way my generation...
Is he out the door yet?
He is.
Okay, cool. All right, good.
So I give him a message when he comes back?
No, it's okay. No, I'll talk to him.
Okay. Okay, that's number 11. I also wanted to ask about the word in front of generations is relations. All my relations, and in parentheses, generations. I've been understanding relations to mean those in my family who are alive presently, like my brother, for instance. Would that be true?
It would include your brother and anybody in your family system. You know, the reason why I use that particular wording, it's so powerful. In the Native American tradition, there was this level of understanding that when they did something, they were doing it for their whole bloodline, and that they were the caretakers of their bloodline. We live in a culture that says, pollute your bloodline if you want. It doesn't matter what you do. Whatever you put in there, what the hell, it doesn't hurt anybody. But, you know, the Native Americans, they have a word, and the word is matakwiasan. And so when they enter into healing ceremony or a sweat lodge, they know they're not just doing it for themselves, and so their word for all my relations is matakwiasan. And then, of course, in the worksheet we've got my generations. I'm willing to enlarge enough to be able to embrace all of that.
Yes. Yes.
And breathe, and then I'm willing to go through the physical, mental, and emotional symptoms of healing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've already established the goal, number 3, and of course the physical, mental, and emotional symptoms of healing are all the things that are coming up, the feelings, the thoughts, all of the energies that have been going on for more generations than any of us would probably care to even think about or admit.
Yes.
And one of the reasons why healing isn't very popular because most people would rather not deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So now we've got the goal. You want to just repeat the goal the way you wrote it down?
Yes. I want myself to take time to reevaluate my goals before deciding.
Okay.
That's what I wrote, and what you redefined. Where did I write that? I want to stay in touch with love and self-acceptance.
Self-approval.
Self-approval.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they could be two more refined worksheets.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing as how we've tapped in with the one with that, let's go with the self-approval, staying connected to love and self-approval, even in the face of what I consider to be an error.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's number 3. Now, what we want to do is we want to make sure that the 2 things that are necessary for healing to occur is love needs to be active and present, and we need to access the deeper part of the mind. So we've got the access happening. We're going to take that to another level in a minute, but at this point, we just want to do step 3 where I choose to connect to love, my true nature, 4, I choose to connect to my newborn nature love instead of the substep.
Mm-hmm.
And so the best way I know to do that is imagine holding a newborn child, smile at the newborn, and let the energy of your smile go up and warm the frontal lobes of the brain. That's where the filter rock is located. In Aramaic, we were told was the first law, that keeping that active was the major key.
Michael, I've never been blessed to be able to hold a brand new newborn. Yeah. However, I have had some spiritual meditation training, which has, you spoke of this last week or the week before. It has enabled me to nearly touch my heart chakra and go to that space of love, and it definitely, and smile at my heart, smile at the love in my heart, and it really is able to get me in touch with that. And you mentioned that somewhere in a conversation about changing your brain, and it does change the brain. But anyway, that's the technique I use. Before I discovered that, I used to think of the first little teeny tiny kitten I fell in love with, and it's just very much the same as a newborn baby, a newborn kitten, a newborn puppy. So
okay. So let's just do that. I'll join you in connecting to that love.
Yeah.
And of course, I just imagine my daughter being birthed, her head delivered into my hands. She opened her eyes and looked at me with crystal clear eyes and grinned at me and sent me into another universe. So I'll join you in that, holding that space. And we ask everybody that's listening to the show to tap into the active presence of love.
Yeah.
It strengthens this field that creates this space on planet Earth. And then as you connect with that, then bring your answer from number 3, to be in love, self-approval, and when I make a mistake. You want to transfer that down to number 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I cancel my need for that.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who are listening to the show, this canceling idea, the core of the forgiveness process in Aramaic, the word forgive is shabag, and it literally translates to cancel. And you'll notice in your life that you never have upset unless there's something you want to be different than the way you see that it is. You're never an upset. If everything is hunky-dory, everything's wonderful, there's no reason for me to have upset. But it's only when I have a desire, I have a goal, and when I put that goal into my mind, that goal links to some form of hostility or fear in me, that I'm in trouble. So I'm going to cancel the goal, cancel the goal, not because there's anything wrong. It's an awesome, wonderful goal to be in touch with love and in self-approval all the time, even when I make a mistake. That's a fabulous goal. But if I load that goal into my mind and it accesses my hostility or fear, then I'm in trouble. And so I'm going to cancel that goal. So step number 5, I cancel my need to be in touch with love and continuous self-approval even when I make an error.
Right.
So by doing that, I'm collapsing the reality in my mind. And as I collapse that reality, what happens, if we read number 5A in full, my reality, made of a max of 9 bits of information out of 10,000 brain cells firing, is a limited picture from my carbon-based memory, and a result of, or driven by my goal, number 3, it's constructed out of corrupt data. By canceling my goal, my replicate mind's output, and replicate mind meaning it just keeps repeating the same stuff, my replicate mind's output collapses and gives me direct contact with the denied and dissociated part of my carbon-based memory, which projects and blames others or self for its content. In other words, when there's hostility or fear, we're in an hallucination.
Okay.
So then the last part of number, excuse me, go ahead.
That was something I had wanted to ask you about, which projects and blames others, and that doesn't fit, of course, if you're doing it on self. So,
remember, when you're doing a worksheet on self, you're treating yourself as though you were a third person.
Oh, okay. So if I remember that, I'm cool. And, yeah, all right.
So your non-being self, your hostility and fear-based self, is a neighbor to your true self-love. And that's what you're doing this worksheet on, is the non-being self.
Okay. And I better make a note of that. Non-being self. Okay. Yeah, good. That explains it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last step in number 5A, I choose to collapse my mind's lies by canceling, in Aramaic, there's a reminder there, shabag, the goal for number 1A, myself, to be in touch with love and continuous self-approval even when I make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So just cancel that goal and let it go. You know, I like what Julie does with kids is she has them put it in a balloon and let it float off. When I remove that driver from my mind, that collapses the projection aspect of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to ask, there is in us, in 5B, for those who are looking at the worksheet, there's a power that in Aramaic was called Rukha. It's a feminine elemental force, a super processor, so to speak, that when we ask it for help will move things in us. So number 5B, and we just invite you to do this, Magda, I invite Rukha, in short form, to incline me toward healing, to restore me to my newborn state love, to heal my denial, and my capacity to generate self-anger or self-condemnation.
And in this case, Michael, what would denial refer to? That's another place where I get mixed up.
When I'm up in the beginning and my mind is telling me that, you know, this is all my fault and I'm bad and I'm no, and this whole list, it's my denial that keeps that in place.
My denial of my true being.
The denial of your true being.
Okay. Yeah, that.
or the refusal to look at the root of this whole string of events that I want to keep denied and dissociated. I don't want to look at this, so I keep it hidden.
Okay.
So as I untie denial, and Chuck comes in the room and says, "Hey, how about if we do?" Then rather than going unconscious, I'm going to just go, "Whoa, boy, that brought some stuff up," and I'm going to move through it rather than lose myself in it.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask this power, another level, help me to open a direct conscious relationship with and remove the dissociated and projected parts of my carbon-based memory. So all of this pain, all of this stuff that's been going on for generations that I'm willing to look at for all my relations, I'm now setting this super processor, Rukha, loose to move that energy, to take me through that.
Okay.
So I'm for supporting that.
Okay, that helps. That dissociated and projected also was a little questionable for me because I was figuring I'm not dissociating, I'm not projecting this on anybody else, but it's all of the rest that's underneath that I've been dissociating from, and obviously projecting over time.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow, after you've done those other 11 worksheets we came up with, you can tell me about whether there was any dissociation or projection.
I'm sure there won't be, Michael. I'm sure of it. But I won't bet you on that.
Okay. So as you cancel that goal and you invite that power to go to work, how do you feel? Number 6, how do you feel?
Very happy and very excited.
Okay, happy and excited. And about 1B, the situation in 1B, where there's this anger towards self, what's that look like now?
Well, what I wrote originally was, I simply missed the mark, no need for anger or punishment. And what I realize is that's telling me what I don't need. But what I realize is what I do need out of our conversation here. I simply missed the mark, and what I need to do is stay in love and self-approval and self-acceptance on a continuous basis. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So,
okay. So, and we're getting down to the last couple of minutes, so I want to see if we can get this worksheet finished before we complete the show. We'll probably skip our outro today. So you've got your feelings and how the situation looks to you now, and then I asked to be shown how I violated number 3. So this could open another dozen worksheets with all the times that I violated this goal to stay connected to love and self-approval.
Yeah.
You could probably do a whole list of worksheets, probably another at least 100, or maybe 77 times 70, right?
I won't have those done by tomorrow, Michael.
Say again?
I won't have those done by tomorrow.
Oh, I hope you will. No, just kidding. Okay, so you can see the application of that one, and then we want to do the final step, and that is number 7. A principle of the universe is that by giving, I first get the original. So number 1A, Magda, myself, I acknowledge myself for admitting, for allowing truth in. Here I am. Oh, my God, I had no idea that this reality of self-condemnation and anger towards self sat on the floor or the underpinning of the way my father used to condemn me and used to condemn himself, and the way my grandfather used to condemn himself. I had no idea that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So now I'm admitting, I'm allowing truth to come in and making a deeper connection to my true being, perfect love, creating in my physiology the activity of that space of perfect love.
Mm-hmm.
And then choose to structure a truly loving goal based on number 3 toward, and now you're treating yourself as a third person, toward you, myself, number 1A. And what is it you want to offer yourself? So now you come down to the bottom line and you've got a goal for self now. What would that goal be at this point?
So my original was I offer you my loving and joyful support in staying in touch with your own goals when interruptions occur. However, now, having done this with you, I offer you, Magda, continuous acceptance, self-acceptance, and love. That's it. Continuous love and self-acceptance. Period.
Awesome.
Oh, no. Even in the face of what appears to be an error.
Amen. Yes.
Yeah, that's real important. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's it. You got it, woman. That's just right on track.
Wow.
That's fabulous. Now, another quick step to do in the little box to the right where it says draw your feelings is to look at, I commit to having a human life, to living as love. To help achieve this, I do a mass canceling of all the times I wanted number 3 from someone. And then there's a place for initials. So here you'd start putting in the initials. This goal of you wanted somebody to be in approval of and having love with you. So who would you put on that list besides Dad, Chuck, Mom,
the world,
former maybe,
or former, everybody, teachers.
Who all could go on that list?
Did
I hear you say David?
No. Teachers. I mean everybody.
Me.
Oh yeah. Michael too. Sure. Jeannie, Julie, everybody.
Okay. So then. Now, this takes it to another level. Now I'm going to do a mass canceling of that goal for all those people in my life. And our time's going to run out. We're going to get cut off, but this will make an awesome, we're now going to have a third worksheet program on the website for doing worksheet on self. This is, I thank you for doing this, Magda. This is just awesome.
Oh, well, it's been my pleasure. Thank you for walking me through this. It's gone so very deep, Michael. Thank you.
Fabulous.
It's been terrific. My blessings to you and many things. Yes.
We honor you. We got about 10 seconds. We cherish you being on our team and being our neighbor, and we look forward to supporting you and creating the best year yet of your eternal life. Everybody in the audience, bring somebody to the show with you tomorrow. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.